we can begin with this webinar. And good day to all of you, dear colleagues from all over the world. This is the segment of the festivities of the World Statistics Day. And this webinar that is around the world in 24 hours. With the name is Driving Change with Quality Statistics and Data for Everyone. I really would like to thank our colleagues from the United Nations European Economic Commission for Europe for giving us the continuity of this segment for Latin America and the Caribbean. It is my very pleasure to have to be here with you, and I want to thank all the national statistical offices, the colleagues from central banks, colleagues from the UN system, and we had the presence of a very important colleagues from the DCO who are here with us and joining us in this important day for us. It is a great pleasure to be participating in this 24-hour global event organized jointly with the 5 regional commissions, as well with UNSD. And so, as you know, this World Statistics Day, it happens every 5 years. And just to remember the last 5 years, so we have faced in all over the world, but in particular in Latin America and the Caribbean, we have faced many challenges and adversities over these 5 years. If you can, if we remember the COVID pandemic that attacks us here in our region, so we suffer a lot. We have a lot of problematic in the countries. We have to work together with the statisticians and all the UN system. We have to work together to support countries in different aspects. So just to mention you the work that we made here in ECLAC with as you remember, the 15 webinars that we implement to address this emergency. That central banks and national statistical offices suffer to obtain, to gather information. So we try to develop and adapt statistical methodologies to support the household surveys and the information that we collect, the collection of the information for the consumer price index, which are essential aspects for the continuity and for the process that we have to conduct. In addition, if you remember, we create a geoportal where we incorporate all the measures that the countries have made during the process of the pandemic, and we give all this information to the countries just to take decision policies and the things that the way that countries were moving from the lockdowns to another processes to incorporate the different aspects and those issues that and we put it all of these processes in a platform in ECLAC with the support of all the colleagues from the country the countries the country residents in this regard. So so we have to work in a collaborative way, and including everyone. And we made it possible to implement these methodological innovations to overcome and to solve these problems and to see the different phases. And we find another issues that we can that we incorporate during these 5 years. So we saw the facilities that these webinars coming and the facilities and the innovation that we can that we could incorporate with these processes in this. The web platforms work very, very, very well, and the technology support us for this pandemic. But that happens, and we have to continue in this with this. In ECLAC, we have been working very hard during these 5 years, supporting the member countries in the things that we have done, in particular in capacity building, in terms for the household surveys, national accounts, consumer price index, environmental statistics, geospatial information, development of web platforms, and incorporation of these to all these processes that as we know, they are very important for the following of the Sustainable Development Goals in the different aspects. And that's an issue that as a regional commission, so we are able to support through capacity building, through our different intergovernmental bodies that we have in ECLAC, so to support this the process through statistical processes that we are helping the countries in collaboration, of course, with all the country residents and the DCO in this regard. Another important aspect that we have worked during these 5 years in ECLAC is that we incorporate the geospatial aspect into our activities regarding the Sustainable Development Goals, which involve the creation of geospatial data as the one of CEPAL Geo, this web platform where we are incorporating all the geospatial data, the data infrastructure, geospatial data infrastructure that countries have. We incorporate a statistical geoportal in our CEPAL Stat. We made a revamping of the CEPAL Stat, making it more friendly user for all of them. And of course, we developed this platform for the following of the Sustainable Development Goals, the one that we call it Sustainable SDG Gateway. And so it was very important because there you can see the following of each indicator of the Sustainable Development Goals from the statistical side, but in a map, your reference with all the information coming from the global database. So, and another aspects, so we become the secretary of the UNGGIM Americas and trying to link the statistics office and the geospatial information. And so this allow us to improve in different qualifications and support countries. For example, the use of processing satellite images to give information to the countries, and the disaggregation that we can make in this regard at different timeless level using geospatial information. And in terms of data banks, so we, as you know, so we have since many years, but now we launched the Household Survey Data Bank. There is a platform where you can process your information using the household survey that comes from Latin America, and you can work with them. And this is very important for us. And of course, we create a new data bank for economic surveys that we call it DADECON. These aspects were improved during these 5 years, trying to support countries to innovate and to put all the statistical aspects in Latin America and the Caribbean to support in the front line of the innovation. So, in another aspects that we have made these 5 years in terms of innovation, we developed a broad line to support for countries, in particular in a small area estimation. And I'm very happy to tell you that after almost 5 years of of years of inside ECLAC with interdivisional work, this last April, we were able to launch our multidimensional poverty index in Latin America. This is the first one, a multidimensional poverty index that incorporates the labor force in one of the criteria. So as you can see, so we have been working very close with countries, developing processes inside ECLAC to take them to support countries in capacity buildings and all those issues we have made because we have this compromise coming from our region for our region and working very close from the statistical side. So in ECLAC, I think we have a lot of things to do. The work that all countries have been done in statistical aspects it is reflected in the Statistical Conference of the Americas and the different end, of course. So we have a very important position at the Statistical Commission at UN every year. So we are very happy to be here to support countries and to continue. And I'm clear that the next 4 years are going to be very important in terms of innovation, incorporating the artificial intelligence, the big data, and other processes that we are going to have in this. So times are difficult for the next years, yes, but we are close, we are together, and I think, so the example that we made as statisticians, so during the pandemic, it is the same that we have to do during the next 5 years. Finally, I really would like to invite you to attend our 13th meeting of the Statistical Conference of the Americas that is going to be held in November from 25th to 27th. And thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for collaborate together. And thank you for being the great, to participate in this great community that is the statisticians. And congratulations, all of you, because this is your festivity for this World Statistics Days. Over to you, Georgina. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolando. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us to celebrate this World Statistical Day. And ECLAC have prepared some agenda very interesting for you. This is Georgina Alcanta, former Chief of Environmental Statistics Unit at the Statistic Division at ECLAC. So I am your moderator for the rest time in this hour. So for our first event, our second event in the agenda after the Rolando presentation, we have an integrated presentation talking about multidimensional poverty. With this presentation, we will have a growth vision from the global advances and the regional advances. For this presentation, we have 3 speakers. The first speaker is Nabamalika Dehinga, a statistics specialist, and Sam Kumar Shrestha, another statistics analyst from Human Development Report Office, and the regional vision will help from Javier Mancero from Social Statistics at ECLAC. So, Nabalika, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'll be presenting first, then I will welcome my colleague, Malika. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I am Som Kumar Shrestha from the Human Development Report Office, UNDP. And today, along with my colleague Malika, and we are going to present a brief overview of Multidimensional Poverty Index and also provide some of the key highlights from the latest 2025 Global Multidimensional Poverty Index report that was launched just last Friday, 17th of October. So next slide, please. So let's begin with some brief overview of the MPI. So the MPI, or Multidimensional Poverty Index, was first introduced in UNDP's flagship report, that is Human Development Report, in 2010. Since 2018, after the joint review of its methodology with the OFI and UNDP, so they both have been publishing the global MPI report annually along with the thematic research on various topics. The MPI complements the monetary poverty by informing who is poor and how they are poor. Next slide, please. So what is MPI? So MPI measures the multiple deprivations in health, education, and standard of living at the household level, using the 10 different indicators as shown in this figure. The basic structure is same as a Human Development Index, which also consists of the 3 dimensions of health, education, and income. MPI captures both the incidence of poverty, which is how many of people or proportion of MPI poor there are in the population, and also the intensity of poverty, that is the average deprivation among the poor population. We use nationally representative household surveys such as DHS, MIX, and other comparable surveys for its computation. Next slide, please. So this is some of the key findings from this year's report. So this year's report highlighted that 1.1 billion people, or nearly 18.3% of the population across 109 countries, live in multidimensional poverty. Among these countries, with data on both monetary and MPI poverty is higher than monetary poverty in 63 out of 105 countries. Next slide, please. So now looking at how the multidimensional poverty is distributed across the different income group and middle income group and the regions. The middle income countries are the epicenter of global MPI poverty, with nearly 2/3 of all MPI poor population living in the lower and upper middle income countries. Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for nearly half of all MPI poor populations. Together with South Asia, these two regions account for nearly 83.2% of the global poor population. So I'll stop here now and request my colleague Malika to continue with the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Som. Next slide, please. Welcome, everyone. My name is Navamalika Dihingya, and I will now very quickly take you through some of the key messages from the second section of our report, which focuses on a very relevant, timely, and important topic, climate hazards. So in this report, we've overlaid subnational level climate data with granular information on multidimensional poverty incidence. And what we found is that 80% of the world's poor live in places that are exposed to either high heat, drought, flood, or air pollution. But what's more concerning is that many of these multidimensionally poor people face not just one, but multiple hazards within the same year. As you can see in this chart, across different country income groups, there is a significant share of poor people who are exposed to 2, 3, or 4 climate hazards concurrently. For example, in lower middle income countries, which is the middle bar in this chart, around 548 million poor people are exposed to at least one hazard, but out of these, over 200 million are exposed to 3 hazards concurrently. Now, when we examine these trends by world regions too, we found that across South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, majority of the multidimensionally poor people are exposed to at least 2 or more climate hazards concurrently. Next slide, please. Now, this issue of poverty and climate hazard intersection is not limited to the present alone, but it is only expected to intensify in the future. So in this report, we looked at temperature projections data for different countries in 2 future time periods, mid-century 2040 to 2059, and then end of century 2080 to 2099. And as you can see in this chart, which plots the additional number of high heat days, it has a sharp upward trend as the number of days go from countries with lower poverty levels to countries with higher poverty levels. Next slide, please. So this was just a very quick snapshot of some of the key messages from our report, both focusing on the updated statistics on multidimensional poverty and how that relates to the current issue of climate hazards. We welcome our audience to go to our website and explore further findings from this latest report, which puts the spotlight on a topic that is extremely urgent and timely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malika and Som. This is Javier Mancero from UN ECLAC Statistics Division, and I will be presenting complementarily the work that we did with the Multidimensional Poverty Index for Latin America, and that was recently launched in this year in collaboration with UNDP and the Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean. So the MPI-LA, the Multidimensional Poverty Index for Latin America, complements the global MPI, using standards that are better suited to Latin American realities. And also it allows the incorporation of dimensions that are not available in the surveys that are used at the global level. In this case, we can incorporate the dimension of employment in the analysis of multidimensional poverty. And this is also a complement to national measures, basically because it provides a common framework to make comparisons across countries and assess the extent and depth of multiple deprivations. For this index, we are using our household survey repository from ECLAC, which contains data for 17 Latin American countries. And currently, this exercise is currently limited to Latin America due to the absence of more updated surveys from multi-purpose surveys from Caribbean countries. The basic structure of the index has 4 dimensions: housing, health, education, employment, and pensions, each one with 3 indicators that you can see on the screen. And what we find is that multidimensional poverty has been steadily declining since 2008, which is the year for which we have the first measurement. Nevertheless, even though we see this trend, we still have that 1 in 4 people are living in multidimensional poverty in Latin America and the Caribbean, using these standards adapted for the region. We also find that multidimensional poverty and monetary poverty do not identify the same population. You have different combinations. And what you can see is that the people that is identified as poor by both methods is 12.6%, which is lower than the number that is identified as poor by income-based alone or multidimensional alone. So that means that both methods are important, and we need to use them in a complementary fashion so that we can capture all the aspects of poverty. We also find that multidimensional poverty is more prevalent in rural areas among children and adolescents, and also indigenous peoples. In the 3 charts that you have on the screen, you can see the big gaps that we have between rural and urban, between children and the rest of age groups, and also between indigenous and non-indigenous populations. And when we analyze the relative contributions of the different deprivations to total multidimensional poverty, we find that employment conditions in general and also digital exclusion are major drivers of multidimensional poverty. These have the largest contributions to the total result. In this case, is the 2023 figure decomposed by its 12 indicators. In addition, we did an analysis of gender gaps in multidimensional deprivation, in this case, using the information at the individual level without adding them at the household level. And what we find is that women, when we do this analysis for people 20 to 59 years old, women experience 1.2 times more multiple deprivations than men. So this measurement shows a large gap, which comes mainly from the deprivations in employment, the lack of opportunity to participate in employment equally between women and men. And regarding next steps, we have this ongoing collaboration with our colleagues from UNDP to apply the index for deeper analysis and policy recommendations. We plan to have a new publication by next year. And in this last slide, you can find some of the links to the publications, which are only available in Spanish, the documents, but also to CEPAL Stat, where you can find these indicators available. So thank you very much. I will stop sharing the presentation. And thank you, Georgina.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you for your interesting presentation, very interesting insights about multidimensional poverty. This is the first segment in our ECLAC organization event. So the next segment is about data from and with people, access, use, and collaborations. And in that segment, we will have 6 presentations from experts across the region. But first, I want to share with you a trivia that we prepare to interact with you, with all the audience. So, Javier, let me. You can see in your screen the QR code. Next. To interchange, to share with us about this first question. What is the estimated population in Latin America and the Caribbean in 2025? Let us know your opinion between these 3 options. This trivia, this question, this interaction will be able across the segment. Please let us know your opinion, and in the middle, we can start with the presentations that we integrate and coordinate for this segment. So our first speaker is Mr. Roberto Valent, Regional Director from Latin America and the Caribbean, UN Development Coordinator Office. So, Mr. Valent, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. You can hear me, Georgina?
Excellent.
Okay, lovely. Thanks a lot. And first of all, I also want, first of all, to thank both Rolando Campo, the head of the director of the statistical division, and also ECLAC for the kind invitation to this segment. This clearly ensures a regional, diverse, and committed perspective on the value of statistics for human development. Statistics are a driver of sustainable development and well-being, and this is very clear to all. And this is also the reason why this event calls on all of us to renew our collective commitment to quality data as the foundation of a just and inclusive future. Without trusted, harmonized, and accessible data, development risks becoming rhetoric, and with it, governments and institutions, as well as citizens, can make informed choices, build trust, and accelerate the 2030 agenda. Across the region, in Latin America and the Caribbean, the UN is also strengthening national statistical capacities, harmonizing systems, and linking evidence to policy and financing. With ECLAC, we are also aligning methodologies on multidimensional poverty. The presentation that was made right now is very much a case in point, but also aligning methodologies on human mobility and gender equality, and ensuring that national indicators feed into global SDG reporting. Rolando also made a very clear reference to the SDGs, and SDG reporting is a critical element for all of us. Through the resident coordination system, we also ensure that agency-specific data in education, health, labor, environment, or gender is not just, is not just woven into national strategy and public reporting, but also we make sure that it's not fragmented, because that is important, and that can also be done with the system working all together, and the system also feeding information from all over the areas and countries we are in. Our work also is anchored in 6 interconnected priorities, from strengthening statistical system to generating evidence for decision-making, monitoring and accelerating the SDGs, advancing digital inclusion and citizen participation, producing data for climate resilience and food security, and supporting governance and planning with evidence-based tools. And these priorities are already delivering tangible results. Let me give you a few examples. In Paraguay, the UN has supported flagship social protection reforms by integrating Hambre Cero en las escuelas and the Registro Social, which is zero hunger in schools, and the social registry into a unified national registry. In Chile, the integration of UN Info and Power BI dashboards into the national SDG evaluation system has also ensured ownership and accountability at the SDG level. And in Uruguay, census data and disability ID systems have given visibility to Afro-descendants communities and persons with disabilities, ensuring that rights also are recognized, budget allocated, and accountability enforced. In Argentina, continuity of poverty and social protection data has been safeguarded across political transitions, anchoring social inclusion also in evidence, even amidst turbulence in so many ways. In Belize, SDG mapping has been embedded in national planning, while in El Salvador, data on youth, migration, and social protection has enabled constructive engagement in constrained political spaces. And in the Caribbean, when Hurricane Beryl struck, disaster and climate data were integrated into a single platform, and ensuring also early warning, rapid response, and recovery financing. This has now become a codified anticipatory action, and it really shows the extent to which the organization actually is really taking seriously data management and evidence. Beyond this national example, UN agencies bring also unique strengths, with UNICEF in education and child protection, WHO and PAHO basically in health, FAO in food security, ILO in labor markets evidence, UN Women actually in gender and care economy metrics that has been very successful within the region, and UNEP in environment and climate, as well as biodiversity preservation. Through the resident coordination system, these are integrated into nationally owned frameworks, leading to modernized censuses and surveys, updated SDG indicators, multidimensional poverty metrics, AI integration, and stronger citizens' engagement. The principle is clear. Data is a shared public good. It requires access, opening data sets to citizens and civil society. It also requires turning numbers into actionable insights that also shape budgets and anticipatory decisions. And it requires collaboration, bringing together government, statistical offices, UN entities, development banks, academia, civil society, and the private sector. The examples across the region prove the case, with the Paraguay Unified Registries, Chile's SDG accountability, Uruguay's rights-based census, Argentina continuity of data and Belize's planning, as well as El Salvador's engagement and the Caribbean anticipatory protocols. These demonstrate that data is not neutral, it is political, it is social, and it is transformative in so many ways. Yet progress is fragile. Data systems remain fragmented and underfunded, and many times we find ourselves without much data particularly for duty bearers, to take informed decisions. Too often also international partners support isolated dashboards and pilot projects, and the task ahead is to move from data projects to data ecosystem, trusted, financed, and co-governed. Looking ahead, Latin America and the Caribbean also can lead in three decisive directions from our perspective. The first one is a regional data compact for the SDGs, pooling resources around social protection, climate resilience, and human mobility. The second is the institutionalization of anticipatory data, embedding predictive analytics into planning so that risks trigger early action. The third one is systemic financing for data, moving beyond projects with small grants to really blended models where national budgets, IFIs, foundations, and pool funds sustain long-term investment in data as infrastructure, as essential as roads and energy grids. Taken together, these directions affirm a single truth that data is a public good that must be governed collectively and financed sustainably. If this region can model that, we will then not only accelerate the 2030 agenda, but also provide a blueprint for other regions. So I thank you very much, and I leave it here. And again, thank you very much, Georgina, Rolando, and everybody for this space for DCO, but also for the resident coordinator.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you for your words, and very interesting revision and insights for the Latin American region. So thank you again. And now we will have the presentation from Yu Xian-Shu, a policy specialist from Human Development Report Office, UNDP. Yu, are you there? And in the middle, thank you. And in the middle time, Shu, let me share some information. The QR code that I share at the starting in this segment, maybe all of you realize that have two questions. We will be happy to get from you the answers for the two questions. At the end of this segment, we will share the results of your response for that question. So thank you for interacting with us in this important event. So Shu, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, colleague. This is Yu Xian-Shu from the Human Development Report Office of UNDP. First, I would like to thank ECLA colleague for this opportunity to present our flagship index, Human Development Index, HDI, for today's World Statistics Day celebration. Next slide, please. The very first Human Development Report in 1990 started with a simple but powerful idea. People are the real wealth of nation. It reminds us that real progress is not just measured in the number of GDP. It's about expanding people's choices and giving everyone the freedom to live the life they want to. Since 1990, our Human Development Report Office has produced a total of 30 Human Development Reports, with our latest report launched in May this year. In each edition of the Global Human Development Report, a new update of the Human Development Indexes, including the HDI, will be calculated and published for countries to track their progress in advancing human development. Next, please. As the first report emphasized, human development is multidimensional. It's for individuals who have choices and the freedom to be healthy, to be knowledgeable, and to enjoy a decent standard of living. So the HDI was introduced as a multidimensional index to track a basic set of capabilities. It's developed to steer the discussion away on the development progress away from the GDP and moving toward a measure of human progress, a measure that truly counts in people's life. Next slide, please. For the past 30 years, the HDI has shown a consistent increase in development progress. However, the latest data from the 25 report show that this progress is decelerating at an alarming rate. And this same trend is observed globally and across region. Next slide, please. The HDI relies on data from UNDESA, UNESCO, and World Bank, IMF, and other UN data for its 4 key component indicators. First, life expectancy at birth. Second, expected years of schooling and mean years of schooling. And lastly, GNI per capita. Next slide, please. Here, I would like to emphasize the importance of data update and collaboration. As mentioned, the Human Development Report Office does not collect data directly from countries. We use data produced by international organizations who collect and harmonize data from countries. So it's very important we work closely together to get the most current value available for the calculation of HDI. So for each report, the Human Development Report Office will send a letter to National Statistical Office to inform colleagues our production plan for the upcoming report. And importantly, included is the information on data cutoff date. Next slide, please. So we look forward to working with you all to continue making the best and most efficient use of data for the update of HDI. As we celebrate the World Statistics Day today, we warmly invite you to visit our website and follow us on our social media channels on our ongoing work and new initiatives advancing human development through data and statistics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ju. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for fitting on the time available for this. So next, we have the presentation for Simone Springett, UN Resident Coordinator at Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. So please remember that we have 5 minutes for the presentations. Mr. Springett, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, I don't know if, oh, you do have my slides. If you could go to the next slide, please. A very, very warm welcome, everyone, from the United Nations Resident Coordinator's Office in the Eastern Caribbean here in Barbados. I would like to think that we think of every day as World Statistics Day, because we do truly believe that having quality statistics is a precondition to having quality public policy and how this directly then impacts families and communities. Next slide, please. Small island developing states across the Eastern Caribbean have aging populations and below replacement levels of fertility. This changes our demographic landscape as well as the public policy landscape within this geography. With this in mind, the Resident Coordinator's Office, alongside of UNFPA and UN Women, and in partnership with the governments of Barbados and the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat, committed to a data support project entitled Building Resilience and Ending Vulnerabilities in Small Island Developing States. The goal of this project was to build an evidence base on the care economy to support further policy development. Next slide, please. The Resident Coordinator's Office supported in the design of the program, facilitated the negotiations with national officials to address implementation bottlenecks, and played a pivotal role in coordinating the interagency work with the government throughout the implementation of this project, thus ensuring that the program prioritized its principal data sources around health, gender equality, and social protection, aligning with our UN collective principle of leaving no one behind. This was also supported by a range of partners, including the Barbados Family Planning Association, the Barbados Council for the Disabled, CARICOM, the University of the West Indies, and the Caribbean Development Bank. This project also had a critical focus with government technical staff from the National Statistical Offices and those across the ministries of Economy, Finance, Health, and Gender Bureaus in both countries, and benefited from the technical support around strengthening capacity on data collection. Next slide, please. The results from this data collection exercise showed that in both countries there was a significant gender disparities in the burden of unpaid care and domestic work, with unsurprisingly women and girls spending almost 3 times more time than men on these duties. Next slide, please. So just to look at some of the impacts. Through the support of this joint program, the UN has built to support the capacity of Barbados to better manage the demographic shifts, including an aging population. The project also enhanced the capacity of key government officials through training programs on population dynamic and its social economic implications. Barbados now has a cadre of officials better equipped to lead the rollout of the Barbados population policy. Building on the successes of the program, Barbados recently launched the Intersectoral Implementation Group, and the Barbados population policy aims to address these demographic shifts while safeguarding human rights. While in the case of the British Overseas Territory of Montserrat, the program played a critical role in advancing rights-based population policies and strengthening national capacities for data-driven decision-making. Other achievements include the development of the draft population policy, the draft national sexual and reproductive health policy, and the central registry for vital statistical information. Next slide, please. I just wanted to give a brief snapshot of some of the policy documents that were developed with this data that's now being used by the government of Barbados to draft a number of pieces of legislation, parental leave, etc. So if we do share these slides, I would urge you to have take an opportunity to look at some of these data products. Excuse me. Next slide, please. And then with this, I just want to say thank you for letting us join this opportunity around the world event and sharing how we have supported driving change with quality statistics and data for everyone. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Springer, for sharing with us these interesting documents and data, and also for be careful with the time manage. So thank you. Next, our next speaker is someone that I lost the name. Sorry, because we need to change our next speaker. So Javier, can you share with me
Adriana Sánchez, me parece, Georgina.
Thank you, Adriana. Sorry. Adriana Sánchez from UN Resident Coordinator from Costa Rica. Sorry, Adriana, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Georgina. Yes, I will present on behalf of Allegra Bayoki, our Resident Coordinator, because he can't make it to present today. Then I will present on behalf of her the experience of Costa Rica driving change with quality statistics. The next one, please. First of all, Costa Rica is part of the Power of Data initiative. Costa Rica has been part of this initiative since 2023, supported by UNDP, UNICEF, UNFPA, World Bank, and the Global Data Partnership. And this engagement reflects Costa Rica's commitment to data innovation, digital governance, international cooperation on data, and to enhancing data governance, production, and innovation. The next one, please. United Nations has historically worked through its agency funds and programs in close collaboration with the Costa Rica's national statistics systems to strengthen national statistical capacity. This partnership has focused on improving data collection, analysis, and dissemination to support evidence-based policymaking and sustainable development planning. And in this presentation, I will focus on capacity building for integration of new data sources, enhanced data system for SDG monitoring, and CDC participation and open access regarding data. The next slide, please. Regarding capacity building of integration new data sources, we have catalyzed innovation that enable more timely, disaggregated, and localized insights in the data statistics systems. enhance responsive and national and sustainable needs, and UN have supported the integration of new data sources, including geospatial information, enables mapping of population and service to identify the geographic disparities and targeted interventions more effectively, complementing traditional survey data, and enhanced administrative records, reducing cost, improving data frequency, and enabling faster and more effective decision making, and making public policy more effective and precise. The UN support the Institution of National Statistics and Census, including evaluating census processes, and design a roadmap to integrate administrative records into the mixed census model as a next step in the to strengthen the statistical capacity in Costa Rica. And a key example for this support is Sinirubi. That is a Costa Rica flagship platform supported by the UN nations that enables precision social policy design and guides the implementation of targeted social protection strategies in Costa Rica. The next slide. Regarding the data SDG monitoring, the collaboration with the NEC and the Line Ministry has strengthened national capacity to monitor progress on the 23rd agenda. The alignment of national indicator framework with the Sustainable Development Goals has been advanced, ensuring relevance and coherence in the SDG governance framework. Improvement in statistical infrastructure have enhanced the quality and timelines of the SDG-related data, and that data comparability and accessibility has been prioritized to support transparency, coordination, and decision makers at all levels, including local level and national level in the statistical cooperation with the country. And then the last slide, please. And regarding the citizen participation and open access, UN supporting this area with the promotion of open data platforms and tools at local levels to enhance transparency and accountability, especially at local level with local governments in Costa Rica. We had enabling public consultation through accessible digital interfaces and participatory mechanism at local level, and engaging diverse stakeholders, including communities, civil society, academia, and local governments to strengthen the participation and the co-creation of data news sources, and fostering data use for local action, allowing users to interrogate and apply data to integrate and apply data to inform public policies and programs at local level, and with UN with local governments at the municipal level. And this is the experience of Costa Rica. Thank you for your attention, and I will stay in the meeting if you have any question regarding this experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you for sharing that important information from Costa Rica and the work on the Resident Coordinator Office. So our next presentation is from Maria Jose Torres Macho, UN Resident Coordinator at Chile. Maria, the floor is yours, please.
Good afternoon to everybody. Nice to say hi to this important forum on data and statistics. Cheers from Chile. And actually, next slide, please. The context in which we are going to speak about the experience of Chile has to do very much with whatever Rolando in his opening remarks was mentioning. We know that quality statistics are critical to look into inequalities, but also we need to also understand how those statistics can shed light on policies and in inclusive development. I'm going to show that through three different areas of work: the census, the surveys on time use and voluntary work, as well as on gender indicators. Next. So on census, this is something that the UN country in Chile has been engaged for many years. Actually, we have been working with the National Statistics Office, the INE, for years, providing technical support. This is something that ECLAC, the Population Division, UNFPA, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, ILO, do. And the interesting thing is, for instance, that for the first time, we included some Afro-descendant questions. It's the first time that actually we have information in Chile about these interesting questions about gender and also sexual diversity questions. And the most important and outstanding, I think, result of this census that we are going to use proactively in our next CCA and the next cooperation framework in 2026 is that the total change on the population profile of Chile. We are seeing an accelerated demographic transition and how population is aging in a way that we were not anticipating. Then the second element that I think is very exciting, again, something that has been already mentioned by some colleagues, mentioned also by Rolando, is how we make sure that this data coming from the census that is still being processed, there are kind of 17 different kind of reports that are being processed, is make accessible to people actually with this geo-referenced geo-portal. And actually, this is an innovation. This is a very good example on how data and innovation can really come handy for transparency. Next. Second big area of work is how we use time series. This is, again, a cooperation with, this is something that Chile has been doing. The second National Time Use Survey was a cooperation work between ECLAC, the Gender Division, UN Women, and actually it provided the necessary elements to design the care society policies. This is a flagship area of work of this government, is a key area of work for our cooperation framework, and it has been presented, it's going to be presented also in the World Summit. It was endorsed by the 16th Conference of Women in Mexico recently took place. And what is interesting about these type of surveys is that, as it was shown in Barbados, the average time that women in Chile use to care work is every day 3 to 5 hours, which really is absolutely essential when you are designing a policy of care, for instance. And when we are talking about unpaid work, this comes with a lot of implications on those people who are doing care work, also from migrant communities. So it does have a huge impact on social protection. And the other element that this is a quite new initiative by ILO and UNV together with INE, our statistics office, implemented the United Nations General Assembly resolution on the recognition of the contribution of the volunteering work to the GDP, which is quite interesting because it's from Chile. They are involving the entire region in creating what Roberto spoke about. This is a data compact. I mean, how do we measure that it's compatible with all the region? And the last element that we find, please next, particularly interesting in the experience of Chile is how gender indicators can be extremely important when we speak about, for instance, public spending. It's the first time that in Chile we have a baseline of the amount of resources that are allocated to spending in the national budget. It is about 22 to 23% of our budget, and this is an analysis that has been conducted by UN Women with our Ministry of Finance, and this is actually information that is based on impact and relevance. Very interesting exercise in undertaking an analysis on SDG 5 indicators. This has been published this year, 2025. Again, National Statistics Office together with UN Women and ECLAC, and identifying how in a very persistent way the inequality gap on feminization of poverty, health and nutrition, gender-based violence, inequality in work and income, and the limited political participation is something that has to be part of the national agenda. Lastly, the issue of understanding how much having a kid costs in Chile. This is something that UNICEF has done with the Ministry of Social Welfare, and it has become a topic of conversation in the incoming political campaign. And it is about $500 for those of you who are interested. This is exactly the minimum salary in Chile. So this is one of the reasons also of understanding why is the fertility rate dropping so fast. To end this presentation, I have three messages for this World Forum. One that has to do with development, one that has to do with the political scene, and that has to do with human rights. First, we are all under pressure to identify accelerators to really complete the SDG agenda by 2030. We know we are very, very behind. And actually, the only way to have some policies and some spending is based on data and evidence. So there is no way that Chile can develop if they don't address persistent inequalities. And this takes me to the political message. We find that accessing data at the public by the citizens is one of the most effective ways to counteract misinformation and to build trust in the institutions, and discussing not from ideology, but from based on data. And therefore, we really are very much interested in expanding these platforms for dialogue, innovation, and transformation. My last point is Chile, that is an extremely unequal country. The data that we have been gathering for all these surveys and work on statistics highlights the importance of inclusion, and this is not only about development, but it's also about human rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria Jose, for your presentation. And now we have the closing presentation for this segment from a video presentation from the Director of Regional Statistics, CARICOM, Mr. Halim Brizan. So, colleagues. Thank you. Okay, in the middle, we can, I want to remember you to participate on our trivia. And after this presentation from Halim Brizan, I want to show your responses and the information that you can share with us through this exercise. So now we can see and hear the Mr. Halim Brizan's presentation from CARICOM. Thank you.
We are one people in this region, coming together to build advance. Let's shape our lands. The numbers tell a story, who we can be, where we're coming from. So join us, let us unite, bridging the gap, one step at a time.
It is indeed a great honor on behalf of CARICOM to offer a few words on this auspicious occasion of World Statistics Day, celebrated under the theme Driving Change with Quality Statistics and Data for Everyone. Today's observance comes just 5 days after CARICOM commemorated its 17th annual Caribbean Statistics Day on the 15th October 2025. CARICOM remains proud that our first recognition of Caribbean Statistics Day in 2009 helped to motivate and pave the way for the United Nations Statistical Commission's declaration of World Statistics Day as a global observance to be held every 5 years. This year's celebration of World Statistics Day also forms part of the culmination of CARICOM's Year of Statistics, launched on the 4th November 2024. The Year of Statistics is being celebrated in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Standing Committee of Caribbean Statisticians, the SCCS, a body built on collaboration among member states, associate members, development partners, and other stakeholders to share knowledge, best practices, and resources, and to develop regional public goods in statistics. The SCCS has remained steadfast in its mission to foster increased recognition of the importance of adequate statistical services, to the countries of the region, to widen the scope and coverage of statistical data collection, and to improve the quality, comparability, and timeliness of statistics produced. The SCCS has built a strong, connected regional system for statistics, particularly in the last decade, when the implementation of the regional strategy for the development of statistics commenced following its endorsement by the Conference of CARICOM Heads of Government in 2018. The efforts of the SCCS have strengthened access, use, and advanced the development of statistics both nationally and regionally. In the words of one of CARICOM's founding fathers, the late Honorable Eric Williams, at the signing of the Treaty of Chaguaramas, the treaty that established CARICOM and within its framework, the SCCS. All our strength is in union. All our danger is in discord. Today, we carry that legacy forward because at the very heart of the SCCS's mandate is this principle of data for and with people, access, use, and collaboration. It is therefore no surprise that the theme for the Year of Statistics in CARICOM is improving lives through statistics, strengthening and innovating together, reminding us of the power of numbers and collaboration. While our national statistical offices and the wider national statistical systems remain the primary producers of official statistics, it is vital for CARICOM citizens to understand their central role in data production. Without the willingness of the population to cooperate and provide accurate information, statistics would not exist. For this simple reason, enshrining confidentiality provisions in our statistics legislation and institutional practices, as well as building and sustaining public trust, is not just important, but essential to ensuring full cooperation in statistical activities. In closing, I would like to stress that access to and use of accurate, timely, and relevant statistics are vital for advancing CARICOM's regional integration agenda. Such information enables us to capture and quantify the unique vulnerabilities of our small island developing states and guide effective responses to the socio-economic and environmental challenges that confront our region.
Okay, after this CARICOM presentation, we can close this part of this segment before we will share with you the answers of our colleagues for our trivia. So I expect to know the answers, Javier. Okay, so in order to the time able for the rest of the event, I expect that in the starting point of the next part, my colleagues from ECLAC can share with you the answers that you share with us in the trivia. But after that, I want to say thank you for all the speakers on this segment, from data for and with people, access, use, and collaboration, part 1. And my participation is closing this segment. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for participating on the trivia. And again, congratulations for World Statistics Day. So Javier, the voice is yours.
Thank you very much, Georgina. We were sharing the image with the results of the trivia, but it seems it didn't come through. I will share it again. Well, hello to everyone. We will start the second block of our segment, the ECLAC segment of this 24-hour webinar. Let me start with the trivia. So I hope that you can see my screen. I don't know. Yes? Okay, great. Well, then this was the first question that Georgina posed. What is the estimated population of Latin America and the Caribbean in 2025? We have a tie. We received 24 replies, and the two most voted options were the first two, and the correct one was the first. Okay, so there's a good intuition in our audience. And now for the second question, it is which economic activity contributed the most to Latin America and the Caribbean's GDP in 2024? And we also had a tie in this for the second and third replies, and the second one was the correct reply. So thank you very much. We will continue now with this second block, and we have different questions for you to answer. Please scan the QR code so that you can reply them. You have 40 minutes to think about them because we will show the results at the end of this second block. The first question is, according to the latest available figures, what is the average household size in Latin America? You have there 3 options. So scanning the QR code, you can access this trivia. And the second question is, what percentage of the energy consumed in Latin America and the Caribbean comes from renewable sources? Okay, please look at the replies. Don't forget to scan the QR code, and then you can access the replies. So I will stop sharing my screen to present our first speaker of this block, which is Maria Isabel Ibáñez. She's the head of the Gender Statistics Subdepartment of the National Statistics Institute of Chile, INE Chile. So, Maria Isabel, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you well.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Isabel Ibáñez, and I work at the National Statistics Institute. And today I'm going to talk about the experience of the Diversity Web Survey. Next, please. This is an initiative that arose from the demand from the civil society organization for official data on gender and sexual diversity. It did also stem from the push from some international organizations to help Chile make progress on this issue. Thus, in 2024, our institution took on the challenge of a statistic on sexual and gender diversity project. This project consists of 2 phases. First, the web-based diversity survey, which is the focus of this presentation, and then the national diversity survey, which is a probabilistic household survey. Regarding the diversity web survey, its main objective is to understand the socio-demographic characteristic and experience of the sexual and gender diverse population. This considering different areas such as health, education, employment, violence, and discrimination, among others. This survey was a self-administered web survey in which participants voluntarily agree to answer. Therefore, it's a non-probabilistic survey. Next, please. To build this operation, we began with the need specification process. To do this, we carry out a qualitative study, life trajectory of people with sexual and gender diversity. In this study, we applied interviews and life story to 44 people. This made it possible to identify relevant dimensions for the questionnaire and definition of concepts. In addition, interviews were conducted with academic experts in the field. This allowed us to identify information needs and learn about collection strategies. We also held working group with public institutions. Through these discussions, we identify existing information gaps and learn from the experience of other services. And finally, we held 3 working groups with civil society organizations that were essential for this process. In the first working group, we carry out a participatory dynamic to identify information needs. In the second one, we raised feedback from improving the first draft of the questionnaire. And in the third one, the final questionnaire was presented, and we work on data collection plan. Next, please. Here are some photos of the working groups, and you can see the important participation that we have. And the next, please. In this way, we arrive at a questionnaire with 7 modules addressing issues of identification, discrimination, and violence in different spheres. Due to the survey was web-based and self-administered, dissemination was critical to its success. Partnerships with various stakeholders were essential to reaching the largest possible audience. Those who participate are the following: 85 civil society organizations, 224 municipalities, 29 public institutions, and 78 higher education institutes. All of them were training on the survey and received support and dissemination material. Thanks to this, the organization and the institutions actively participated in the dissemination process. For this reason, we achieved a much higher response rate than we expect. We are currently processing and validating the data and expect to have the result by early 2026. And the next, please. Finally, I would like to show a short video of the people from the organization calling to participate in the survey.
Lo que no se cuenta no existe. Haz que las juventudes trans estén en las estadísticas nacionales. Participar es existir. Hazte presente en las estadísticas.
La encuesta web Diversidades de INE es una oportunidad única para visualizar nuestras experiencias y tomar esta información para generar políticas y acciones concretas que beneficien a niñeces, adolescencias y juventudes junto a toda la diversidad.
Es importante que respondan la encuesta web de las diversidades porque las personas no binarias también importamos. Te invitamos a ser parte de esta oportunidad histórica de hacernos visibles.
Hola, soy Carolina, trabajadora social de ONG Acción Diversa y soy heteroaliada, incentivando a que respondan la encuesta web para que el diseño de las políticas públicas considere las diversidades.
Nuestro país está compuesto por muchas diversidades en todo ámbito. Las diversidades sexogenéricas necesitamos tener datos estadísticos en nuestro país y eso permitirá en un futuro construir políticas públicas con nuestras reales necesidades. Así que están cordialmente invitadas a contestar la encuesta.
Lo que no se cuenta no existe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marisabel. It's a very interesting presentation and it's a great work, so congratulations. And I think it's a good step towards not leaving anyone behind and making it inclusive for everyone. We will continue with our next speaker, Mr. Keith Thomas. He's Education Planner of the Ministry of Education from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and participating in OECS Education and Statistics initiatives. Mr. Thomas, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Can you project the presentation, please? Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. And my name is Keith Thomas, and I'm the Senior Technical Specialist with responsibility for data and information at the Education Development Management Unit within the OECS Commission. In terms of our, next slide, please. In terms of charting our progress, the way that we dealt with our statistical data collection, initially in 2011-2012, we had a workshop with the 9 member states, and this was facilitated by Mr. Emilio, I think is his name, Gustavo, in which we did a comprehensive review of the data reliability and consistency across the member states. So we needed to know exactly what information was available, what wasn't available, and the time frame in which that information was usually collected. Following which we looked at all of the questionnaires across the 9 OECS member states. And we did an evaluation of the existing data collection instruments for the preschools, primary, secondary, post-secondary, TVET, and special education centers. After which, when we looked at these questionnaires, we decided to revise them, and we incorporated the global and regional indicators in which we tried as best as possible to align our questionnaires based on what each country was collecting according to the international standards guided by ISCID and the UIS glossary. After which we developed a regional questionnaire which was harmonized so that we were all collecting the same set of information while allowing for national nuances where there were local specificities. And then finally, the formation of the community of practice was effected in 2013, 2014. We now have a very vibrant body of OECS education statisticians, and from this group, we have the continued revision of our questionnaires, and we share ideas in terms of how we go forward and also how we can assist each other in data collection. Next slide, please. So, at the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, you can see the map at the top. We have Antigua and Barbuda, I'm going from left to right, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, St. Lucia, and we also have St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Anguilla. In enhancing our data quality, what was done is that in 2013 and 2017, we did 2 sets of revisions to our questionnaires, the 6 questionnaires: early childhood, primary education, secondary education, special education, TVET, and post-secondary. So in those 2 years, we revised our national instruments to guide us to better monitor the OECS education sector's indicators so that the 7 strategic imperatives were adequately monitored. All right, so some of these initiatives included leadership and administration in terms of looking at the principals, the deputy principals and teachers who had leadership or administration degrees. We looked at the curriculum monitoring. We also looked at teacher professional development, pupil enrollment, not special education, early childhood enrollment, and also post-secondary enrollment. Again, recently, just in 2025 in March, we further revised our national data collection instruments with the guidance of Manuel Alcaino, and we also try to make sure that we improve our SDG4 coverage. And we just recently signed an international partnership agreement for further technical assistance with the UIS. So in doing this in March, what we did was to go through all of the SDG4 indicators, and we mapped them to the various levels and incorporated the questions into the respective levels of education so that when the data comes in, we would be better able to give a more informed response as it relates to SDG4. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So in terms of looking at our data for everyone, our OECS Statistical Digest, we started in 2010, 2011, the first photo which you see on the left. That was our very first publication. The last publication which we did was in 2022, 2023. Now, just a quick snapshot. Our very first publication was done as a PDF hard copy. Subsequently, we migrated to the JUMAC platform, and the link is shown below. So this allows you to download the individual Excel tables. It's in a more interactive format. So if you wish, you can download individual tables, or if you wish to look at any of the 6 chapters, whether the institutions, chapter 1, leaders and teachers, chapter 2, pupil enrollment in chapter 3, chapter 4 being internal efficiency, chapter 5 being student performance in exams, and finally education financing. You can download the entire chapter if you wish, or if there's a specific table in any of those 6 chapters which you wish to review, you're free to download the Excel file and you can subsequently manipulate the information. Now, this data is very important for the OECS region. The reason being the end users, and I'm going to go in somewhat of a hierarchical manner, is being used for the Caucus of Ministers, which it was recently done just a month or so ago. And we shared the information to provide them a synopsis as to where we are within the education sector, where we have progressed and where we also have challenges. We share it with the policymakers, the prime ministers, the authority. We share it with researchers, persons from the University of West Indies and otherwise, persons doing their theses also consult this document. We also share it with some of our development partners, UNICEF, UNESCO, CDB, and others. I can't name all of them now. And also...
Sorry to interrupt, Keith. If you could come to rounding up your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please, final one. Okay, in terms of the data dissemination, what we've done so far is that in 2010 to 2011 to 2016-17, we had our document as a PDF. In 2018, 2019, we switched to the digital form. And finally, going forward from 2025, we are moving towards intelligent automation in which persons are actually able to go in and query the data based on the information which they seek to have. Thank you very much, colleagues. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Keith, for this interesting presentation on the work done by OECS in the education statistics. My apologies, I presented you with the wrong position at the start.
No problem, that's okay.
That in the agenda. We will now have the presentation from Freddy Rodriguez. He's the regional lead for Latin America and the Caribbean of the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, GPSDD. Freddy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Javier, and thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Well, I'll be speaking a bit about citizen data, but particularly also an initiative funded by APC Colombia, and that includes 3 countries, Kenya, Ghana, and Colombia. And it's actually focusing on inclusive data and citizen data. Next slide, please. So before we get into the points about examples on how we are actually developing the initiative and some actually actions, why citizen data matters, I have 4 points here to highlight. Empowering citizens, which is a key action actually to make them use data as an evidence for decision making. But also it has the point as well about availability, timeliness, and also the possibility of data desegregation, especially for those vulnerable or marginalized populations, especially that they need more data for decision making. So it goes in both ways for the government, but also for the population or communities as well. Thirdly, is also to make visible those realities that sometimes is difficult to capture due to lack of resources, capacities from the National Statistical System or the NSOs, because there are limited resources and the data collection cannot go beyond certain areas, especially rural areas where it's difficult to capture some information. All of these 3 points come to the point as well about collaborative approach. So working together, working alone with different actors, but also building trust, which is the most difficult area as well to work, especially on citizen data. Next slide, please. So why citizen data? And I'm going to refer on what is highlighted here, and it's engaging citizens from the beginning throughout the value chain. And that's what we've been doing, especially on the initiative. Next slide, please. And on these actions that we've been taking, in Colombia particularly, through Make Inclusive Data the Norm, that's the name of the initiative funded by APC Colombia, and that includes the 3 countries that I mentioned before, is actually including that approach of having a maturity model, and some of you already know about the Copenhagen framework as well, and working with citizen data as well. So in Colombia, the 2 main actions among others is to create this maturity model, but also working on discrimination and other topics as well, using web applications. So different methodologies of capturing data, which is an innovation. And we know there is still some challenges, especially when working with statistics. We don't expect to have official statistics, but at least to, close data gaps and try to complement official statistics. Next slide, please. Also in Colombia, we have the possibility of working as well with health data. In Colombia, this is a particular thing that is happening, and for more than 15 years, they have this community-based surveillance, and other countries as well throughout the world, they have a similar approach on working with this data collection that is done by the community. So the community action boards are the ones that capture the data, but the guidelines are provided by the government, which is a good example of citizen data, even though they call it differently as community-based surveillance. Next slide, please. In Dominican Republic, for example, the use of drones, which is the use of technology, being used actually by the community, capturing information where the NSO and other actors as well, civil society, academia, and others are working together in order to monitor sargassum. That for many of you might be aware that in the Caribbean, sargassum is affecting a lot of the areas, especially for touristic reasons. Next slide, please. Another example as well. Can you go to the next? So another example as well is about community-led approaches. So we know that some exercises are actually going through the capturing data from web applications, but actually is created or was created by the communities as well. So I think the slide before it was the dengue, and it's how dengue is being tracked by the community for the community, so they can actually identify where it is. But this actually lacks of the opportunity to engage and to connect with the government. So this is actually a good example of how the building trust exercise is important. Next slide, and we can go to Ghana. And in Ghana, the female genital mutilation is a good example as well on how anonymously you can actually report, and this is through Make Inclusive Data the Norm, the initiative working with the NSO, the Ministry of Gender, other organizations as well from civil society, reporting female genital mutilation, which is a particular action that is happening in the north of the country, is a good example of how citizen data can contribute for decision making as well. Next, please. So when we talk about citizen data, we are aware that challenges still remain, and some of them are related to data quality standardization, but also avoiding one-off projects, that is the traditional, what is happening with some innovations as well in statistics. And the other one that I mentioned several times throughout the presentation is the trust building, but also it becomes an opportunity. Partnership building, investing in trust, creating spaces for collaboration, the use of technology, but also the integration of subnational level, focusing on particular data to be collected. And finally, the South-South collaboration. Through Make Inclusive Data Norm, we have learned that the South-South collaboration is an important form of view and the collaboration between the NSOs, between the different civil society organizations, and among others as well. Last slide, please, which is basically a message. When we talk about citizen data, and especially working with communities, understanding the realities, I actually included this phrase as well. When people produce data, they produce change. So it's like a combination of not only producing the data and disseminating it, but rather to encourage everyone to work with the data based on evidence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freddy. I think very concrete examples of citizen-generated data and how can it can contribute to the statistics in general. So thank you very much. We move ahead now with Carlos Hernandez. He's the Director of Regulation, Planning, Standardization, and Normalization in National Administrative Department of Statistics, DANE, from Colombia. Carlos, please go ahead.
Good afternoon for everybody. Well, I'm going to talk about data in action, our project about citizen data. This presentation highlights Colombia's experience in advancing citizen-generated data as part of its commitment to inclusive and participatory statistical system. Led by DANE, the initiative reflects how citizen data contribute to a broader and more democratic understanding of national realities within the framework of the Copenhagen Declaration on Citizen Data. Next slide. Well, what is citizen data? This is a general description. Citizen data refers to information that emerge from initiatives where citizens actively participate in different stages of the data value chain. These efforts are grounded in principles such as informed consent, transparency, confidentiality, independence, and accountability. Citizen data complete the official statistics by providing local, contextual, and qualitative insights, often capturing realities that traditional sources may overlook, such as community mapping, citizen surveys, and collective testimonies. Next slide, please. What is citizen data looking for? Well, through Danner's leadership, Colombia recognized the active role of civil society as data producer with the National Statistical System. The initiative seeks to, first, strengthen citizen participation in policy design and monitoring. Second, complete official statistics with local grounded data. Third, reveal needs and issues not always visible in traditional datasets. Fourth, evidence-based decision-making across sectors. Fifth, foster trust, transparency, and collaboration in the data ecosystems. Next slide, please. Citizen data in Colombia. Well, this is our stage in this moment. In Colombia, citizen data are seen as a pillar of inclusion and diversity in statistical production. Citizens and institutions not only use data, but also interpret it and generate it. This approach contributes to a culture of evidence that enhances public debate and support decision-making. The country is working toward to goal 35 to develop recommendation, best practice, and alliance to enable citizen participation in generation, validation, and use of the statistical data. Next slide. Data in Action, our project overview. Data in Action is Dan's national process to design and implement the Colombian Citizen Data Framework, aligned with the Copenhagen Framework in Citizen Data. It's carried out with the collaboration of the United Nations Citizen Data Collaborative, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, APC Colombia, and other stakeholders for civil society, academia, and government. The initiative is also part of the South-South Cooperation Program, Make Inclusive Data the Norm, alongside Kenya and Ghana, as previously Freddy says and mentioned it. Next slide, please. Project component of Data in Action in Colombia. The project consists of three major components. The first one is the inventory of civil society organization. Over 100 organizations identified, and 107 of which produce citizen data. Citizen data framework and maturity model as a second component. Created through 12 workshops held across Colombia and online, leading to a global unique model for community data self-management. This was workshop that we developed with many of the organizations here in Colombia. And third component, Diverse App, a multimodal digital tool designed with the citizen to collect data on complex and sensitive phenomena such as discrimination. Next slide, please. Well, just as final words, data with people and for the people. Through Data in Action, Colombia affirms its regional leadership in statistical innovation. Citizen data do not replace official statistics. They complement and enrich them, helping to build systems that it's closer to people and their realities. This effort underscores the principle that data should be created with people for people, ensuring that every voice and every territory count as shaping public knowledge and decision making. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for sharing with us the important work that DANE is doing on citizen-generated data and with very concrete activities in a very structured approach. So thank you very much. We will next continue with Oscar José Chávez. He's the General Manager of the National Statistics Institute, INE, from Guatemala. Oscar, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Guatemala. I want to show you some of our recent progress on how to increase the use of data across institutions and society. We believe in the idea of data for and with people, focusing on access, use, and collaboration to make sure that information contributes to public policy and people's everyday lives. For us, success is not about how much data we produce, but about how much institutions and people rely on it to make better decisions. Next, please. Guatemala is developing its national strategy for development of statistics, known as ENDE here in Guatemala, with a long-term vision. This strategy provides a framework to coordinate the national statistics systems and ensure that our production of data aligns with Guatemalan regional and international standards, allowing us to produce data that is consistent, comparable, and reliable. At the same time, our institution is advancing with modernization processes that includes moving to a new headquarters, building new data center, and updating the digital and administrative systems. These efforts are aimed at improving efficiency, enhancing data management, and in supporting the professional growth of our team. Next, please. One of our main priorities is the Integrated National Census Project. With this initiative, we are filling a major gap of information that has existed for decades in Guatemala, as we have not conducted an economic census since 1965, and we haven't made an agricultural census since 2003. This project introduces an innovative planning methodology that is new to the region by integrating the population, housing, agricultural, and economic censuses under a single planning model. This will make the census process more coherent, efficient, and sustainable over time. The project will also adopt a full digital cartography, introducing new technologies for our country that will allow real-time field monitoring, more accurate mapping, and better data validation. Let me see. Wait, next, please. In addition to the census, we are carrying out major projects that show how Guatemala is innovating in the way of how we collect and use data. Firstly, our continuous employment and income survey, our first continuous survey ever, produces regular and comparable information on employment and wages. This will integrate with our country's new labor market information system, CEMEL, that connects administrative and survey data from different institutions to make labor information more robust. Also, this year, we are launching our first national survey on migration that will provide evidence on migration flows, remittances, use, and their social impacts. We are also co-founders of the Strategic Care Roundtable, led by Ministry of Social Development, that promotes coordination for Guatemala's emerging national care policy. And as part of this work, we are planning our first time use survey to collect data on how we use our time, recognizing everyone's contribution to both economy and social well-being. Next, please. Guatemala is a very diverse country. Its social and territorial diversity reminds us that data must reach everyone and represent everyone. We are also proud that Guatemala has been designed as a member of the Executive Committee of the Statistical Conference of the Americas for the next period, and that our proposal on a working group for regional indicator on gender and climate change has been selected. These recognitions reflect our commitment to regional collaboration and to producing data that responds to emerging global challenges, reaffirming on this day that we are reaffirming on this World Statistics Day our dedication to trust in data, collaboration, and inclusion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Oscar, for sharing with us all of these projects and activities that INE Guatemala is developing, and also congratulations for joining the Executive Committee in the next biennium. We will now have the presentation from Silvina Viazzi. She's the Director General of Dissemination and Communication from INDEC Argentina. Silvina, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Javier, and to ECLAC for the invitation. Good day, everyone, colleagues and friends who are joining this special celebration. Shall we go to the first slide, please? I will focus briefly on just an aspect of dissemination and communication of official statistics phase. I'd like to share with you one of the many challenges we face at INDEC, and I'm sure today is a challenge for every official statistics office as we adapt to the rise of new digital technologies to communicate the data. According to the latest digital news report from the Reuters Institute, there's been a fast shift for worldwide towards consuming news through social media and video platforms. Globally, the proportion of people who watch videos on social media has grown from 52% in 2020 to 65% in 2025. And overall video consumption has increased from 67% to 75%. And when people suspect fake news, about 35% turn to official sources to check the facts, like governments and state websites, which is a good opportunity in our statistical work to grow in relevance. Next slide, please. In Argentina, more than 60% of people get their information through social media. Facebook and Instagram are the most popular platforms, but X is where we have most of our followers and interactions. Now, in this digital ecosystem where data is everywhere, but accuracy is not always guaranteed, we face a key challenge: how to turn complex statistical information into clear, useful insights that help us take better decisions. Next slide, please. So what do we do with this information? At INDEC, all of our content is created by our own team at the Dissemination and Communication Directorate. Everything is planned and designed to be native to each platform and with stories and formats adapted to the way users consume information there. Our goal is not only to share data, but also to use new digital tools to promote statistical literacy and reach wider audiences. So we practice active listening to improve how we communicate statistics. And we ask ourselves, what are the users asking for? Which data is harder to understand? Which topics are being affected by misinformation or fake news? And we work with a feedback system to respond to these needs. Next slide, please. Now you can see in a snapshot a diagram showing how operates our digital dissemination and communication workflow. As much as possible, it's flexible and adaptable. I mean, always a work in progress, because our main goal is to ensure that official statistics remain, above all, the trusted source of quality information for decision making. And the final slide, please. Just to say, on behalf of our team and authorities of INDEC in Argentina, thank you very much for the opportunity to celebrate together the World Statistics Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Silvina. You've brought a very interesting challenge, which is how to get this data to the users, not only produce the data, but also make it accessible in this world of a lot of information and miscommunication sometimes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move to our last speaker from this second block in the event. From the academia, he's Javier Busi. He's the director of the School of Statistics at the National University of Rosario. Welcome, Javier, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Javier, for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation to celebrate the statistical science in this global event. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. As Javier said, my name is Javier Busi, and I am the director of the School of Statistics at the National University of Rosario in Argentina. Next slide, please, Javier. In 2024, I had the privilege of participating in the United Nations World Data Forum in Medellin, Colombia, as a member of the program committee. That event was a unique opportunity to see firsthand how academic and national statistical offices can learn from each other. That experience reinforced my conviction that our School of Statistics must act as a connector, translating research into tools that can be put into practice and bringing back real-world challenges that enrich academic inquiry. It showed me how academia can move from being a passive observer to becoming an active partner in the global data community. Our role is to bring new methods, fresh perspectives, and the training of new generations of statisticians into dialogue with national statistical offices, the private sector, and international organizations. This is the foundation for building data ecosystems that are not only technically sound, but also inclusive and trusted. Next slide, please. On one side, academia contributes accurate methods for data analysis. On the other side, national statistical offices bring real-world data and the responsibility to inform policy. The bridge between them is collaboration through joint projects, training, and shared innovation. Our research in statistical disclosure control provides methods that national statistical offices can adopt to ensure both confidentiality and analytical value. By working together, we can produce statistics that are not only accurate, but also trusted and accessible to everyone. Collaboration is not optional. It is essential. Thank you very much for your attention and have a wonderful Statistics Day. Back to you, Javier.
Thank you very much, Javier. You've brought a very important point, and is the need to collaborate closer with academia. So I think that we have to hit this call and make progress on this. Thank you very much again. We are approaching the final, the end of this section. Let me just share you the results from the trivia. I think that you should be seeing now my screen. I hope you can do it. And let's see, for the first question, what is the average household size? The majority of people replied the second option. And now we will see the correct answer, and most people are correct, basically. The correct option is 3.3 people is the average household size in Latin America. And for the second question, oh, okay, sorry, it seems that my screen cannot be seen. Okay, maybe in the next block, we can show you the results to avoid spending too much time on this. I now have the pleasure to give the floor to Claudia de Camino. She's the former Chief of Economic Statistics Unit here at the Statistics Division from ECLAC, and she will be moderating our third panel. Claudia, please, floor is yours.
Hello, welcome. Just to, sorry, because I wanted to share with the background, but I'm not finding it. So I wanted to welcome everybody to this session on innovation and modernization in statistics as part of the celebration day of the statistic, the World Statistic Day. To start with, I'm going to show you the 2-question trivia. It is possible. Is it possible that? Thank you, Javier.
Sorry, I will go to the third. Would you like to show the results?
Yes, we would like to.
Oh, but this is the. Okay, sorry. This was the first question. Where we see that most people got the correct reply, and this is the second question. The percentage of energy consumed that comes from renewable sources, and here people were more pessimistic that the reality, it seems, because the correct answer was 32%, and most people replied just the first one. I will move with the third section. Please, Claudia, go ahead.
Thank you. The first question is, which country's area is equivalent to the land deforested in Latin America and the Caribbean over the past 10 years? Argentina, Colombia, or Ecuador? Please scan the QR you have in your screen. And as Javier told us, we will share the answers at the end of this segment. And the second is, what is the percentage of women majors elected in Latin America and the Caribbean in 2024? So you can see 8.6%, 12.4%, and 16.6%. So we will see who is right. And now we have the pleasure of hearing from Humberto Arandia Claure, Executive Director of the National Institute of Statistics, Bolivia. Please, Humberto, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. I'm having problems with my camera.
But we hear you very well. Yeah, we can see you now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. On behalf of the plurinational state of Bolivia, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present the progress made in terms of statistical innovation and modernization in my beloved country. Please, the next slide. In recent years, we have developed a coherent strategy based on the modernization of the legal framework, the updating of national accounts, the implementation of the most advanced population and housing census in our history, and the adoption of a grid system for managing geospatial information. The next slide, please. To structure a long-term project for the modernization of official statistics, it's essential to update the legal framework, especially when it has lagged behind for more than 40 years. In this context, Bolivia, using the model established by ECLAC as a foundation, approved its new official statistics law in November 2021. This initiative aims to align with the highest international standards and best practices, enable interoperability between public and private sector institutions through the most modern instruments available. The next slide, please. This legal framework granted the National Institute of Statistics the authority to carry out the population and housing census in Bolivia. As an institution, we aimed for the highest possible international standard despite our limitations. In this regard, we successfully georeferenced each and every property in Bolivia for the first time in its history. And together with the use of satellite imagery, especially GIS software, and a top-tier team, we were able to produce a complete cartographic base for the first time since 1998. Next slide, please. The modernized statistic cartography enabled for the coverage of more than 4.5 million properties nationwide, allowing Bolivia to obtain, for the first time in its history, multi-level geospatial information. Next slide, please. Additionally, We highlight that thanks to the new statistics law, the improved coverage of administrative records, and the firm institutional commitment of the National Institute of Statistics, we were able, after 30 years, to modernize the measurement of national accounts by adopting the 28 system of national accounts, using chain-linked measures to calculate GDP among many other variables. Next slide, please. Finally, beyond many other projects we have done, we also laid the foundations for geospatial information management in Bolivia through the implementation of technical standard based on a grid system aligned with the highest international cartographic standard. The next, please. This is our legacy in information for Bolivia on the bicentennial of its founding as a state, demonstrated that this country can advance as far as imagination allows. We thank you, everyone, for the time and attention to this presentation, which is so important for Bolivia. Happy World Statistics Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Humberto, for your interesting presentation. And now we will listen to Sergio Scarabino, Area Representative for South America and in International Telecommunication Union. The floor is yours, Sergio.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm pleased to present ITU's work on using mobile phone data to measure SDG indicator 1781, the proportion of individuals using the internet, and the tool to help analyze this important data source. This builds on over 10 years of ITU experience, exploring how new data sources, including mobile operator data, can complement traditional statistics to improve the timeliness of and granularity of ICT indicators. Next slide, please. SDG 1781 is a key information society indicator for which ITU is the custodian agency. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. ITU collects data on this indicator from the previous one. The map one, thank you. From national statistics offices, but as this map shows, traditional household surveys are infrequent or not available in several countries, making it difficult to track rapid changes in connectivity. Mobile phone data offers an alternative or complementary method, improving geographic detail, providing more timely estimates, and helping countries fill data gaps where surveys are not feasible. Next one. ITU began exploring mobile data in 2014 and since then has conducted several pilots. The first pilot, 2016-2018, involved 6 countries, Kenya, Colombia, Georgia, Philippines, Sweden, and the UAE, and tested 16 ICT indicators based on administrative data. The second pilot, 2020-2021, focused on Brazil and Indonesia to estimate 2 SDG indicators, 9C1 and 1781. Building on this, the ongoing ITU World Bank Global Data Facility Project 2023-2025 includes 18 countries from different regions, fourth of which are from this region, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, and Haiti. Next slide, please. This chart shows that big data, such as mobile phone data, can be used with traditional household surveys and administrative sources to enhance existing ICT indicators and develop new ones for more timely, granular, and innovative measurements of the digital society. Next slide. To support this work, ITU developed a methodological guide on big data for measuring SDG information society indicators. It provides a practical step-by-step approach from accessing and preparing mobile data through quality checks and data protection to calculating and validating the indicators. The guide draws directly from the lessons of the country pilots and promotes consistent and transparent methodologies across countries. Next slide, please. To make the methods operational, ITU created a series of Jupyter notebooks that provide users a step-by-step tool to analyze mobile phone data. They include documentation, configuration files, and sample synthetic data, enabling national statistic offices and telecom regulators to reproduce the analysis locally or in the cloud. The goal is to make advanced data science tools accessible and adaptable to national contexts. Next slide, please. The notebooks rely on call detail records, CDRs, collected by mobile operators for billing purposes. Only a minimal set of fields is needed: anonymized IDs, timestamps, cell tower locations, and type of service, ensuring privacy. Next slide. Reference data such as administrative boundaries, population grids, and cell tower locations are also required to link the mobile data with official statistics. These data sets form the foundation for estimating internet use geographically. Next slide. The notebooks start from 1, sanity checks, and 2, pre-processing. Before analysis, raw mobile data undergoes rigorous pre-checks and cleaning, removing duplicates, invalid timestamps, next one, tourists, and non-human activity. This step is crucial for ensuring data reliability and statistical soundness. Next slide. Then several quality assurance steps ensure internal consistency, examining the number of active users, cell locations, and diurnal activity patterns, the so-called elephant curve of mobile usage across a typical day. Next slide. Defining each subscriber's home location is a critical analytical step. It allows linking mobile data with population and administrative data.
Sergio?
The assumption is that
you have to conclude your presentation, okay, please. Thank you.
Let me move forward. Okay. Let's go to the previous to the last one. Well, there's an example, but basically what we are offering is linking mobile data with typical statistics information to improve the quality and the relevance of the information obtained. Thank you very much. You can move to the last one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio, for your very, very interesting presentation on this new form of collecting data. And now we have the presentation of Justin Cuendis Ramirez from the Central Bank of Costa Rica. Please, please, Justin, the floor is yours.
Sorry, Claudia, but Justin is not connected. We can pass to the next presentation.
Okay, so we have now the great pleasure to welcome Mr. Ricardo Vicuña, the National Director of the National Institute of Statistics of Chile. Ricardo, are you here?
Thank you.
Yes, excellent. So the floor is yours.
Can you listen to me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Claudia. Well, start saying that it is a real pleasure to be celebrating the World Statistics Day, and thanks to all the organizers of the event. The purpose of this very short presentation is to summarize the main technological innovations implemented during the 2024 Population and Housing Census, with an emphasis on their contribution to efficiency, traceability, and transparency of the operation. Next slide, please. The new technological tools that we incorporated in the census included the adaptation of a platform developed by the World Bank, known as Survey Solutions for Digital Data Capture, the Census Management System, the Census Online, Staff Incident and Training Management platforms, the person and vehicle verification system, the Where is the Census application, and of course, the iCloud infrastructure. In this presentation, we will focus on two innovations, in particular, the implementation of survey solutions for digital data collection in the field, and the application Where is the Census, that enable the public to monitor the progress of the operation in real time. Next slide, please. Starting with the survey solutions application. As I mentioned before, this application is a platform developed by the World Bank that enables the digital capture of census field information. Census interviewers worked with mobile devices that were regularly synchronized, which made it possible to transmit data in real time and continuously monitor progress. In addition, data were integrated with the census management system. This is a domestic internal system at INE, and the security measures were implemented to protect data confidentiality within INE's infrastructure. Next slide, please. In a snapshot, this software allowed, in the first place, something very important, data transmission in real time. In the second hand, it had several mapping tools to guide the route of enumerators in the field. Also, it was integrated to the census management system. This is an internal system to monitor response rates and key indicators in real time. And well, above all, with robust security and data privacy measures. Next slide, please. Going then to our second application that we would like to explain today. A second important innovation was developed in response to a very important public question made to INE before we started the field operation. This basic question was when and where the census enumerator would be visiting households during the census field work. Then we developed this application, Where is the Census, that allowed INE to inform the public on the sectors being visited. As a matter of fact, this application also allowed us to strengthen the transparency of the process and facilitated communication with the public. In addition, the application supported territorial coordination during the collection of data. Next slide, please. The process is very simple. Here we have a diagram. In the first place, you have to visit the website of INE. In the second place, you have to indicate your commune. In Chile, we have 346 communes, so we just needed to type your commune. And finally, you would observe the map where you can observe during a time of 2 weeks where the different teams were in the field. So household would very clearly know when probably the census would knock their doors. This innovation, of course, helped bring the census closer to the population by promoting trust and informed participation. In summary, these technological innovations strengthened INE's operational and management capacity during the 2024 census. They also left behind installed capacities and important lessons that will serve as a basis for future statistical operations and sustain our institutional commitment to quality and continuous improvement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, for sharing with us this innovations in census operations. And let's move on to the presentation of Diego León, advisors to the Deputy Director, National Administrative Department of Statistics, DANE, Colombia. Please, Diego, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to be here today at the United Nations and CEPAL World Statistics Day to share Colombia's experience transforming the National Urban Economic Census, a project that redefines how our national statistics can innovate, adapt, and scale in a digital area. The next one, please. This is the outline, relying on the principal innovations and the core of these innovations. The next one, please. Well, the first one is from DevOps to Agile data engineering. When we started this process, we asked ourselves a simple but critical question. How can our national urban economic census stay relevant in a world where economic data changes every day? Economic data is dynamic. It evolves constantly, and what we collect today may be outdated tomorrow. That reality demanded a new way of working, one built on agility, automation, and scalability. And the response was embraced on DevOps and agile data engineering principles, breaking the census into small, iterative deliverables that could evolve continuously. Through continuous integration and continuous deployment, we began to deploy improvements in real time without interrupting our ongoing operations. This shift transformed our teams into a single collaborative ecosystem from data engineers, economists, and statisticians working together to respond to the life cycle of our data. To achieve this level, the next one, please. To achieve this level of responsiveness, we built a cloud-based infrastructure capable of processing enormous volumes of economic data with speed and precision. While we implemented in using Azure services, this architecture itself is cloud agnostic, meaning it can be replicated on any major cloud provider, such as AWS or Google Cloud, maintaining the same flexibility and performance, and avoiding the problems that arise right now in the world with the AWS down. Well, our core components include data pipelines to automatically move and transform millions of records, Postgres for efficient management of structured and unstructured data, and containerized microservices deployed through Azure Container Apps, allowing us to scale models independently and ensure full portability. This design allows us to scale horizontally across different, across different statistical operations, from the economic census to national service or administrative data. Systems simply by data systems simply by deploying new containers. Supported by load balancers and secure virtual networks, the platform ensures high availability, security, and resilience even under a peak demand. The next one, please. Well, for assured data quality, we need to put in a central priority data imputation, and consistency of our data. Then we applied machine learning algorithms for missing data imputation, mixed by MICE method, multiple imputation by chain equations. By combining with ensemble techniques, we achieved robust and statistically coherent imputations that preserve data integrity. This AI-driven approach is now being reused across Dan's statistical operations, enabling faster and more consistent results across our statistical operations. The next one, please. Well, concluding, from innovation to institutional capacity, this economic census has evolved from a single project into a permanent digital platform for modernization. Its architecture, pipelines, and AI models are now being extended, for example, to national service, administrative records, and the system of national accounts, significantly improving timeliness and quality. Finally, this innovation has thus become institutional capacity, a lasting capability embedded in how we produce national official statistics. And that's the presentation, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Diego, and thank you for inspiring in another areas more than the census. And now we have the opportunity to listen to Marvin Martinez Bellarano, the head of the service section of the National Accounts Department of the Central Bank of Honduras. Please, the floor is yours, Marvin.
Muy buenas tardes. Disculpas, haré la presentación en español.
No worries.
Ok. Bueno, es un honor participar en este evento, nuestro espacio global que celebra el valor de las estadísticas y los datos de calidad como motores de cambio, ¿no? Reciban un cordial saludo de parte de Banco Central de Honduras. En mi pequeña intervención voy a hablarles un poco de lo que es la innovación y la modernización estadística que hemos implementado en algunos proyectos, sobre todo en nuestra institución. Siguiente, por favor. Sabemos que las estadísticas son valiosas, pero nos hemos hecho la pregunta de qué tan valiosas son y cómo evolucionan para ser más precisas y útiles. Para que cumplan estos dos conceptos, las estadísticas deben estar vinculadas justamente a este tema que es la innovación y la modernización, tanto por el lado de quien hace las estadísticas como de quien las usa, academia, investigación, etc. Siguiente, por favor. En nuestro país hemos estado renovando, hemos estado elaborando, renovando las principales operaciones estadísticas. Este trabajo en conjunto con instituciones tanto nacionales como internacionales y también de índole privada como pública. Y mencionamos la encuesta nacional de ingresos y gastos de los hogares. La anterior la realizamos en el año 1998-99. Varios años después hemos logrado hacer una nueva que fue en el año 2023-2024. Lo importante acá es que se le apostó a la tecnología para su levantamiento y poder disponer de información en tiempo real, la incorporación de validaciones en el instrumento y que el encuestador vaya con un dispositivo electrónico y no como se hacía antes, que era en papel. Esto nos ha dado camino también a otro proyecto que estamos desarrollando, que es el índice de precios al consumidor, que el último también no se hacía desde este cambio, esta actualización desde el año 1999, que la base del ENIGA anterior. Estamos ahorita trabajándolo. De igual forma, el levantamiento se hace con dispositivos electrónicos. Siguiente, por favor. De igual forma, hemos optado por el levantamiento del Censo Nacional Agropecuario durante el periodo de los años 2024-2025. El anterior que se había hecho fue en el año 1993, 31 años de rezago, pero logramos disponer la información del sector agropecuario justamente con la incorporación de tecnología para obtener información más rápida y eficiente. De igual forma, se desarrolló otro proyecto, nunca se había hecho, es el primer censo nacional de cooperativas para identificar de manera más precisa el papel del sector asociativo. Siguiente, por favor. Todas estas mejoras de calidad en la estadística, por mencionarlas, o mayor coherencia y comparabilidad internacional, nos lleva a un proyecto grande que también estamos desarrollando en este momento, y es el proyecto de cambio de referencia de las cuentas nacionales. Actualmente tenemos el año 2000, ¿verdad? Vamos a migrar. Estamos ya trabajando en este nuevo proyecto, que es la actualización de los manuales metodológicos, tanto el Sistema de Cuentas Nacionales 2008 como el Sistema de Cuentas Nacionales 2025. Aquí hemos incorporado herramientas como Python, RStudio, Stata, SPSS, justamente para mejorar esa trazabilidad o contar con esa adopción de las nuevas tendencias tecnológicas que nos ayudan al procesamiento y análisis de la información, al mismo tiempo de que trabajamos ya en sistemas, el índice mensual de actividad económica, el Producto Interno Bruto trimestral, y también a trabajar el Producto Interno Bruto anual bajo un sistema, ¿verdad? Todo el sistema de cuentas nacionales anuales sistematizado. Todo esto lo hemos logrado con el apoyo técnico de la Comisión Económica de América Latina y el Caribe, el Fondo Monetario Internacional, el Banco Central de Chile también, que nos ha apoyado mucho, incluido Banco Central de Costa Rica y Banco Central de Guatemala. Todo ese apoyo que hemos tenido de ellos ha sido fundamental para lograr justamente el avance en estos proyectos. Siguiente, por favor.
Marvin, ya te va quedando un poco. Okay.
Finalmente, ya reiteramos el compromiso de Banco Central de Honduras de seguir promoviendo la innovación y la estadística y la cooperación regional, convencidos de que solo mediante el trabajo conjunto podemos construir un ecosistema de datos sólido e inclusivo. Gracias.
Muchas gracias a ti, Marvin. Muy interesante todos estos innovaciones que están emprendiendo en las distintas áreas de la estadística nacional. Now we have the privilege to hear from Galo Egas, Head of Innovation in Metrics and Methodologies of the National Statistics and Census Institute of Ecuador. Please, Galo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Claudia. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy Statistics Day to everyone. And well, here I am going to share with you two experiences that we have had in INEC of innovation and modernization statistics. One of those innovation, or one of those examples, has been already completed and is already fully implemented, and the other one is a work in progress. But that's how innovation works actually, and we are already testing and seeing some results. I'm going to show some of those. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the first example that we're going to check here is the small area estimation that we use in order to predict or to analyze children stunting in Ecuador, because this, in spite of not being one of the poorest countries, we are actually third from the top in highest stunting rates in the whole Latin America. So we have an ongoing issue of children stunting in Ecuador. So we took advantage of the proximity of the populational census that was 2022, and the National Survey for Stunting, that is ND, from 2022 to 2023. We actually use the model to estimate at a county level or at a municipality level. And we switch, because we were actually working at an individual level, we switch to an area level model, and that allowed us to have better estimates. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this was the main issue. What are we looking at here is that if we observe children stunting, what we have is the blue line. And the blue line says that, of course, for some of the counties, the most numbers and the biggest populations, we have decent coefficients of variation. So we can observe and we can infer and we can do some public policy with those counties. But as the counties start decreasing in sample, decreasing in population, whereas in sample as well, we start to observe a huge variation, a huge coefficient of variation, and we cannot infer any kind of information. And when we actually went out and tried a model, what we obtained was the red line. So we have actually one of the best estimates that we could have ever asked for. We only have 1 or 2 points that are above the 20%, and most of them are below or very close to 15%. So we are very, very happy with this estimate. From a statistical point of view, we have a lot of precision, and we are happy with the precision that we have in order to infer what we are looking at the territory. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, well, sadly, I'm guessing that the guys converted this slide to a PDF, so you cannot see the animation, but here we were supposed to see how the maps shifted from a province level to a county level. But I'm going to share with you a very tiny result that is very, very significant. You can look at the hotspots here, and if you go to the west of the country, there's a small province there that's called Santa Elena. There's a hotspot with a rate of 27.6%. If we go into a county level, that province that has 2 counties, just 2 counties, is no longer a hotspot. And the hotspots are actually concentrated in different provinces in specific counties. These results are already in use and have been used to prioritize resources in order to fight children stunting. And we are actually in the 3rd year, if I'm not mistaken, of the public policy to reduce children stunting. Can we go to the next slide, please? So now I'm going to share with you this other example. There's an ongoing work that is trying to enhance labor market statistics in Ecuador through intelligence, to machine learning essentially, and harnessing the power of non-structured data. So what we are actually doing right now is, because we don't have the labor demand data, so we are trying to capture the data with web scraping. We have been successful in organizing and structuring this data, but we still have some issues, especially because not all the data is complete. So we have used XGBoost algorithm and some other machine learning algorithms in order to make some imputation that allows us to make a huge amount of we can build now good data set in which we can start producing statistics. At the beginning, we only started with a couple of online sources, but now we are expanding the project to almost all of the online sources that we can find here in Ecuador. And we are expecting within the next year to start producing official statistics from these non-structured data sets. If we go to the last slide, please. right now we have this. So from our data set that is not complete, it has not all of the sources, but we can already see some results. And we know all these 5 provinces have the highest concentration of vacancies, job vacancies. We know that these vacancies are concentrated in wholesales and retail. We know that we have some skills missing in our labor market, like in engineering, for example. We know that we need more technicians and professionals, and we can actually even delve deeper into knowing that a technician with a certain amount of skills and a certain amount of experience is going to be paid set amount, and an engineer with the very same amount of skills and more training or same training is going to be paid a different amount. And this allows us to make a lot of inferences and to design policy or design programs, educational programs specific to our labor market. So that's my presentation. Thank you everyone for listening, and happy Statistics Day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Galo, for these 2 excellent examples of using these innovative techniques. So now to wrap up this segment of the session on innovation and modernization in statistics, let's review the trivia responses. Well, for this, which country's area is equivalent to the land deforested in Latin America and the Caribbean over the past 10 years? Yeah, most of the people are right. Ecuador is the most deforested land in Latin America. I'm sorry, the area equivalent to the land deforested in Latin America and the Caribbean. So let's move to the second one. Here, what was the percentage of women mayors elected in Latin America and the Caribbean in 2024? The right answer is the third one, is not the other, is 16.6%. Is the right answer, but not the most voted. So we have this information, and then to conclude this session, this segment of the session, I would like to thank all the presenters because with these experiences, we have more inspiration to our work. Thank you, and have a nice Statistic World Day. I move to my colleague, Daniel. Are you here?
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
Claudia. Can you
See
hear
you.
me?
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the last sessions regarding the specific and thematic issues, the second part of the innovation and modernization in statistics. We have 6 presenters for this section, so please, I beg you to keep your interventions within the 4 minutes assigned for each one of you. And well, before entering in the presentations and the participation of our experts, of our speakers, I will share with you the last 2 questions of our trivia. Let me share my screen with you. Please let me know if you can see the slide. Okay. I hope so.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you, Javier. Okay, well, the first question for you is how many people died in Latin America and the Caribbean due to climate change related and geophysical disasters in 2024? You have 3 options, so we encourage you to use the QR to enter the trivia questions. But ending the reading of this question, I will put the links in the chat also. And the second one is, according to the latest figures, what percentage of the urban population in Latin America is employed in low productivity jobs? I will stop sharing this. Let me check this one. Okay. And now I invite Gian Aguilar from the Systems Development and Data Processing Department of the Statistical Institute of Belize. Please, Gian, the floor is yours. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much. So I will be presenting on one of the recent initiatives that we have been doing in terms of modernizing our processes, specifically as it relates to the labor force survey. One of the main activities that we do in this biannual survey is, of course, coding of industry and occupation in accordance to international classification standards, such as ISIC for industry and ISCO for occupation. So if we can move to the next slide. This is an activity that traditionally, we had done manually, and eventually over the years, as we will see, with some assistance from other applications. But very recently, we have developed an AI-driven coding platform where we have achieved 82% overall accuracy across all classifications. And this is despite the fact that we did not really have the time during this, we can call it experiment, to clean or curate our training data, which is very important for achieving high quality results. However, we can see that if we look at high confidence results from the model, the accuracy jumps to above 90 to 99%, which is very promising. However, our biggest success we consider from this exercise is not that we are eliminating the human factor, but that we are making the humans, our coders, more productive and more efficient. Next slide, please. So this is a brief overview of our journey in this exploration of AI, using AI for coding. So as I mentioned before, previous to 2020, everything was done manually. Eventually, we began integrating some technology such as fuzzy text search with an interface on the browser, and eventually the AI coding model that we have now. This AI coding model, to get a little bit technical, was developed with a Python open source stack using a Roberta language model, which is a transformer neural network architecture. And it has a lot of useful features that have given us the level of accuracy that we want. Next slide, please. So we put a big focus on the human in the loop approach for our workflows. For example, we did a pilot in April of this year with this AI coding model. So during this pilot for the April LFS survey, every record was coded by both human coders and the AI model. So we had an automated process that checked the records and compared the AI and human codes. We accepted cases where the AI and humans agreed as true. And then we had an expert coder reconcile any disagreements between the human coders and the AIs. This approach allowed us to estimate the model accuracy rate by taking the original agreement rate, which we have in the equation in the screen as P, and then we added the disagreement rates times the times or the proportion of times that the AI model was correct in disagreements. Remember, we had that expert reconciliation that allowed us to determine that. Next slide, please. So now as we move on into full-time deployment in September, which we did in September of this year and going forward, we also have a human-in-the-loop approach. We actually are now automating cases where the model's confidence is over 75%, where we estimate that the accuracy is approaching 95%. So whenever we have a record where the prediction is less than 75% confidence, we route these codes to human coders who go through an enhanced dashboard interface, and they can select the correct code. Importantly, we do not show the confidence scores to the human coders so as to not to bias them to select the one that simply has the highest confidence. And finally, we merge the results into, or the validated set of codes into the final survey data set. So as we move forward, then so far we have been able to reduce our human resources by 33%. And we see this as a win because usually human coders would be temporary positions with high turnover in which we have to recruit new staff every round and have to retrain from scratch. So being able to have a smaller group means that we can focus on higher quality recruitment and that we make them more productive as well. And as we move forward and we improve our processes, especially with better training data, we expect our accuracy in the model to grow even more. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Gian. Now we have our expert from Brazil, Maria Luisa Toledo, manager of the Research Center of the National School of Statistical Sciences from the IBG. Hi, Maria Luisa, the floor is yours.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Very well and clear.
Great. So good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Many thanks to ECLAC for this kind invitation to the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, and also for giving us this space to speak about the National School of Statistical Science, which is the school from IBGE. I'm a professor and a researcher at ENSE, and my academic background is in statistics. So it makes it a more special honor to speak today as we celebrate the World Statistics Day. Next slide, please. Well, ENSE has been shaping the Brazil statistical workforce for over 70 years. It's today a national reference in higher education and research in statistics. And we founded the Brazil's first undergraduate program in statistics 69 years ago, which is a program that remains strong today and has graduated more than 2,000 statisticians. And we also run a master and a PhD program in population, territory, and public statistics. And our students' theses and dissertations range from applied projects in public statistics to territorial and demographic analysis and studies on data integration and geospatial analytics. And complementing this portfolio, ENSE offers a specialization in environmental analysis and territorial management, bridging environmental statistics, geoinformation, and policy uses, which is a strong example of how statistical training supports public decision at multiple scales. Next slide, please. And to modernize skills in step with this data revolution, ENSE designed last year the learning track in data science, big data, and artificial intelligence. And since its launch last year, we have rolled out 6 courses, each running for about 3 months, starting from Introduction to Data Science, AI in Public Policies, Big Data in Public Statistics, Privacy Preserving Data Science, Computational Intelligence, and Neural Networks. All of these courses are aligned with the modern production of public statistics. Next slide, please. And about the target audience, it is open to the public. It brings professionals from IBGE, from universities, from government agents, and also like public sector managers. We combine synchronous and asynchronous activities so participants can apply methods on real problems. Next, please. Our learning track is designed for professionals with a graduation degree. We use active learning, especially project-based learning and case studies, so participants solve real problems while they learn. And the approach integrates theory and practice. And we have a clear objective is to develop skills for producing public statistics using unstructured and large-scale data sources with methods and tools that can be transferred directly to production. And the last slide, please. And to finalize, we believe that innovation in statistics is not only about tools, it's about people learning new ways to reason with data, to communicate uncertainty, and to innovate with responsibility. And this is the spirit of our mission as a statistical school. And it's the rationale behind our learning track, is to build capabilities that turn data into public value. Thank you, and happy World Statistics Day to all.
Thank you, Maria Luisa. Now is the turn of Lady Zavala de los Santos, Head of the Department of Short-Term Statistics of the National Statistical Office from Dominican Republic. Please, lady, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. Warm greetings from the National Statistics Office of the Dominican Republic. It's an honor to participate in this regional segment on the occasion of World Statistics Day 2025 with this topic, artificial intelligence in official statistics, exploring both opportunities and ethical challenges. Next slide, please. So now let me introduce this presentation with this question. Why artificial intelligence in statistical production? As you know, global challenges are becoming increasingly complex and interconnected. And today, more than ever, we need timely, accurate, and independent data. So at National Statistics Office, we have been strengthening the use of administrative records to improve statistical production. So we identify artificial intelligence is powering the modernization of statistical system. Next slide, please. So allow me to share a practical experience for our institution with this use case of AI in data production processes. We apply in administrative building permits records by standardizing and integrating new indicators. In the next slide, we're going to see that we identify, next please, we identify several challenges were encountered in processing complex and unstructured description due to numerical formats, activity combination, and detailed information as you can see in the yellow square in the picture. Next slide, please. So we identify key challenges such as time consumed, low availability of human resource, high manual workload, low scalability, human error from non-specialized staff. So this motivate for the use of AI like opportunity for improvement through automation. Next slide, please. Regarding to the resource, processing time reduced from 10 to 7 working days per technical specialized to just 4 hours. This with an average accuracy of 87% to automation classification of main indicator, and this with a minimal cost of implementation. Next slide, please. So however AI can be successfully integrated into statistical processes, we identify many challenges. First of all, generative AI requires ensuring transparency, traceability, and data protection. We believe that truth in statistics depends on models that are explainable, secure, and auditable. And for that reason, we promote AI training and human review in automated processes. And also, we understand the importance of regulatory framework that govern the ethical and safe use of AI. Next slide, please. Finally, I close my presentation indicating that AI does not replace the work of statisticians. No, it complements and amplifies their work. It accelerates the transformation of data acknowledgement and drive innovation in analysis. Finally, as we celebrate today the power of statistics as a public good, we reaffirm that AI can revolutionize data production, but the fundamental principle of official statistics remain the same. Thank you very much. In Spanish, muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, lady. And now is the turn of Mexico. Please welcome Elio Villaseñor, lead data scientist from INEGI Data Science Laboratory. Please, Elio, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel, and good morning to everyone, good evening, good night. I'm pleased to share with colleagues across Latin America and around the world the progress that INEGI has made in implementing its innovation and modernization strategy on this Statistics Day. Next one, please. Nowadays, when we talk about innovation and modernization in the context of National Statistics Office, it is common to talk about artificial intelligence. At INEGI, we recognize that AI adoption represents a game-changing opportunity. When we examine our capacity dimensions for this endeavor, we identify that governance and the legal framework constitute our strongest capacity, given our technical managerial autonomy since 2008. Regarding workforce skills, we have a strong and well-trained team in IT areas and within a data science lab. However, acknowledge the need of reskill a large part of our workforce, a process that is currently underway. We face our greatest challenge in the infrastructure and investment dimension, where limited resources and multiple technological systems hinder a faster transformation. Next one, please. We can reinforce our data governance through update policies on data administration and access control to ensure regulatory compliance and ethical use of information. We are also planning to modernize our technical norms for metadata. This new approach will be flexible enough to incorporate emerging specifications supported by a modern technological system and will apply across all data generation processes. Importantly, it will enable the coexistence of multiple metadata standards, which is essential for the integration of diverse data sources. Next one, please. To implement our modernization strategy, we have focused on developing data science as an institutional capability. This diagram illustrates not only the workflow of data science lab, but also the standardized process being adopted across the institute. It follows a demand-driven model where the needs of production areas trigger the innovation cycle. This approach ensures that development efforts are both replicable and scalable. At the core of this process is the Data Lakehouse, our integrated solution for combining data from diverse sources, supported by on-premise high-performance computing capabilities. Also, to tackle this workflow, it's important to incorporate new professional profiles like data engineers, data scientists, and AI engineers. This unified platform enables the creation of robust training datasets and the development of data products such as inference models, which are applied to key tasks, including automatic coding, cartographic updating, and synthetic data generation. Next, please. Now we are developing AI agents designed not only to support operational processes in production areas, but also to enable the creation of new services for end users. We are building these agents by harnessing foundation models from third party and integrate them with graph databases to construct knowledge graph that consolidates documentation, metadata, and standards. This architecture facilitates the exploration of raw tabular data and allows the systems to respond to user queries through natural language processing and analytical capabilities on statistical data. Next. We have learned several lessons from this process. First, that the unified data architecture is the foundation for scalability. Second, that investing in our own infrastructure strengthens data sovereignty and long-term sustainability. And finally, that international collaboration is a key factor in accelerating the adoption of best practices. We're looking forward to expand our capacities through workforce reskilling and the development of more AI-based data products and services. Thank you and happy Statistics Day.
Thank you very much, Elio, to share your experience in this specific issue. And now we have Veronica dos Santos from UN Regional Hub for Big Data in Latin America and the Caribbean from the IBGE, Brazil. Please, Veronica, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear?
Yes, well and clear,
Okay.
Veronica.
Hello, everyone. My name is Veronica. I'm here to talk about the UN Regional Hub for Big Data in Brazil. Our hub, hosted by the National School of Statistical Science in Rio de Janeiro, was established 4 years ago. We work on building capacity in use of big data, AI, data sciences for official statistics. Next slide, please. We are one of the 6 regional hubs of UN, and we operate across the Latin American Caribbean region, the LAC region. Next, please. For the current cycle, our work is organized into 4 main lines of action. First, promoting cooperation among producers of official statistics in our region. Second, building capacity in the use of big data, AI, data science for official statistics. Supporting research on the use of these technologies in statistical production, and organizing and hosting seminars and conferences. Next. Under the first line of action, regional cooperation, we coordinated a project that started in September 2024, founded by Inter-American Development Bank, with the participation of 11 countries besides CEPAL. We recently contracted the Mexican organization Data Pop Alliance to develop an open source tool to calculate climate change indicators using alternative data source and artificial intelligence. Next. Also, within this line, we completed in July the first regional survey on the use of big data and AI by national statistics offices in LAC. Preliminary results show that 58% already use big data for official statistics, and 37% are applying AI in statistical production. Next. In the second line of work, capacity building, we have already organized 7 workshops. This year, in June, we hosted the UN Handbook workshop on the use of remote sensing for agricultural statistics. And in November, we will hold the workshop on data science service in the UN Global Platform. Next. In the research line, we carry out projects with professors and both undergraduate and graduate students from our school. Next. And finally, under our seminars and conference line, our latest webinar series reached 1,578 participants from 26 countries. In September, we launched a new series of the use of big data and AI for producing sustainable development indicators. If you know any projects along this line in your institutions, you can contact us to schedule the participation in the next year. Next. I'd like to close by thanking you for the opportunity to be here today and by inviting you all to follow our hub page on LinkedIn to stay updated on our initiatives. From Brazil, muito obrigada.
Thank you, Veronica, for your intervention. And before the last intervention of this afternoon for this section, I will put again the link to the trivia in the chat of this webinar, because I think that maybe it seems that the QR included in the slide is not working very well. So I ask you to participate in the trivia using the link I put on the chat. Well, the last speaker of this specific session is Gina Torres Cumbicus, the Manager of Economic Studies and Statistics from the Central Bank of Ecuador. Please, Gina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to join you today from Quito on this special occasion. It's a great pleasure to represent the Central Bank of Ecuador and to share with you our experience in promoting innovation with official statistics. Next slide, please. Next, please. In recent years, our institution has undertaken a transformation process aimed at strengthening the quality, timeliness, and accessibility of information. Our goal is to make statistics more useful for decision makings and more open to the public. Let me begin with a brief introduction about who we are and how we have evolved. For 98 years, the Central Bank of Ecuador, the previous one, please. For 98 years, the Central Bank of Ecuador has been a national reference in producing and providing reliable and timely economic statistics. Through continued innovation and modernization, we strive to ensure that our data are accurate, comparable, and accessible, fully aligned with international standards. Innovation allows to integrate new technologies, automate the process, and strengthen transparency. This transformation is based on three main pillars of innovation. Next slide, please. These three pillars summarize our strategy to modernize how we produce and disseminate official statistics. The first pillar focuses on the digital transformation of our statistical process. The second pillar is about methodological and analytical innovation. And the third pillar emphasizes modern transparency and data dissemination. Let's start with the first one, digital transformation. Next slide, please. Digital transformation is at the heart of our innovation agenda. Through the BCE data project, we are building a comprehensive data repository that centralizes and automates statistical dissemination. We have also incorporated interactive tools such as R Markdown, Power BI, which allows to create dynamic and user-friendly publication. These efforts are complementary by our second pillar, methodological and analytical innovation. Next slide, please. We are now applying web scraping, artificial intelligence, and machine learning techniques to improve, for example, the compilation of international trade price index. We are also developing experimental indicators such as the economic sentiment index and the economic policy uncertainty index. Next slide, please. Finally, let me highlight the third pillar, modern transparency and data dissemination. This pillar focuses on making information more relevant, engaging, and accessible. A good example is our mobile application called Banco Central Cerca de Ti, in English, Central Bank Close to You. This app brings economic information closer to citizens by offering quick access to key indication and report, interactive charts, and financial education module. Since its launch in 2024, it has achieved around 20,000 downloads, showing the public's growing interest in transparent and open information. At the Central Bank of Ecuador, we are modernizing the way we communicate data using interactive dashboard, open data sets, and accessible analytic tools. Our objective is to ensure that every statistic we produce is clear, useful, and meaningful, not only for experts, but also for citizens, researchers, and policymakers. On this way, data become a bridge between institution and society. To close, let me share a few reflections. Next slide, please. Statistical innovation is more than a technological process. It's an investment in public trust. It helps us enhance institutional efficiency, improve data quality, and anticipate economic change with a great precision. Although there is still work to be done, the central bank remains firmly committed to the modernization process. By applying advanced technology and international best practice, we aim to consolidate our role as a regional leader in the production and dissemination of the official statistics. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sheena. Well, with this presentation, we ended this specific section. Thank you, Gian, Maria Luisa, Lady, Elio, Veronica, and Gina once again for your interventions during this special day celebrating the official statistics around the world. So let me share the results of the trivia. I hope this time will function. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we have the first questions. How many people died in Latin America and the Caribbean due to climate change related and geophysical disaster in 2024? The correct answer is let me check here, the second one, okay? 842 people died in 2024. And the second one, the right answer is the last one, 48.5% is the urban population in Latin America that is employed in low productivity jobs. With this, I finalize my intervention in this day. Please, Javier, go ahead with the activities.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and thank you very much to all the presenters of the 4 blocks that we had in this live session of the ECLAC segment. We have still 45 minutes until the end of the ECLAC segment, and what we will do is to show you several videos that we received with institutional greetings from national statistical offices, from international agencies, from UN agencies, etc. And before closing in 5 to 7 p.m. and then passing the baton to the UNSD colleagues. So we will start by showing you a video from the global network of data officers and statisticians, and then we will move ahead with other very short videos with the institutional greetings. Just to let you know that we received more videos that we can show in the time that we have remaining. So we will upload them together with this recording of this session to ECLAC's YouTube channel. So without further ado, Alvaro, please, if you could show the videos. Thank you. Okay, well, we have reached the end almost of our segment. On behalf of Rolando Campo, the Director of Statistics Division of ECLAC, who couldn't join us in this part because he's now traveling to a meeting, we want to thank you very much for your participation in this segment of the 24-hour webinar to celebrate this World Statistics Day 2025. As you've seen in this segment, we brought together different voices from across Latin America and the Caribbean. We had colleagues from national statistical offices, central banks, universities, UN agencies, and regional and international organizations. And this diversity showed our region's strong commitment to building better statistics and more inclusive and people-focused data that support the 2030 agenda. So when used well, data can strengthen policymaking, can build transparency, and can foster cooperation so that truly no one is left behind. Now that we've come to the end of this part, I want to tell you that this session is recorded. It will be uploaded to the ECLAC YouTube channel, together with the remaining videos that we didn't have time to show. We had to cut a bit earlier to now move to the final segment of this 24-hour webinar, led by our colleagues in the UN Statistics Division. So please continue to the final part of this celebration. You can find the link, we'll paste it on the chat, but it's also available in the webpage of the UN Statistics Division, so that you can join the last 2 hours of this 24-hour webinar. Thank you very much again, and see you soon. Bye-bye.